It's already 1:30 and you're on your way to the gym. Your mind is racing and you keep stressing about all the stuff you got to do. Will you finish the workout in time to attend the Zoom meeting or that date or dinner with your family? You can't skip the gym again, but you know it will be a horrible workout and you just want to get it over with. When you get to the gym, you look at your plan for the day and you cut all the sets in half. No way you can do all that. You're not present at all during your workout because you just keep thinking about your responsibilities. You worry if you will make it in time. You imagine what will happen if you're late, the disappointment, the people that are expecting you to be on time. Being late is a form of disrespect after all. With this much stress and a shitty workout like that, you can neither expect to gain muscle nor have your social meetings go right. However, with a minimalist workout, this could all be different. Imagine this. You get up in the morning knowing that you're gonna have a tight schedule for the day, but you're not stressed. You're excited, you're up for the challenge, and you have planned everything out to fit together. When it's time to go to the gym, you're not stressed because you know that your workout will fit in perfectly and not take any time away from the rest of the responsibilities for the day. You're completely present and relaxed, both in your workout and your other responsibilities. Now, doesn't that sound good? In this video here today, I'm gonna tell you why you can make your workouts much shorter than they are right now and maybe even improve the gains you're making. And this all comes down to one basic principle. This is the most important principle, the biggest mistakes that I see people doing wrong in the gym. This applies even if you are not trying to save time, even if you have all the time in the world, this principle still applies. And that is intensity over volume. This means that the intensity of your sets, how close they are to failure, how good your technique is, how well rested you are for them, is more important than the actual amount of sets you do. Studies have shown, the science is clear on this, that when people do many sets, but they are far from failure, bad technique, whatever, low intensity, the increase in volume does not make up for the lack of intensity. And you can get much better gains if you do less sets and keep the intensity very high. Now, it's gonna be hard, but this is the way to train for everyone. So I want you to really understand, this is the basis for all of the advice that I give, all of my training, and especially for these time-saving workouts. Now, the one problem with this is that when you have your sets this intense, you're gonna need higher rest times. On very hard compound lifts like leg press, pendulum squat, hack squat, stuff like that, deadlifts, you're gonna need maybe even upwards of 5 minutes of recovery time. This will lengthen the workout. So to account for this, we can use something called intensity techniques. Now, with intensity techniques, we can already take these very hard sets that we would be going to muscle failure and make them even harder so that we need even less of them. Because even when we are only doing 2 sets of an exercise, but we're still resting 5 minutes in between, this is gonna take a long time. But if we only had 1 set of that, we could take out a whole rest period and be good. So why are intensity techniques so great? Basically, the bottom line, and this is the reason for intensity being more important than volume, is that the reps in your set that are close to failure, so the 3-4 reps that you do before you end up failing on an exercise, are actually the most growth promoting. So these are the ones that are most important. And usually when we're doing a normal set, we only get this once. On one set, we do one set and we only get one approach to failure. Now, if you have all the time in the world, you can just do another set and have another approach to failure. And this will be superior to employing the intensity techniques for most of the time, especially on compound lifts where it's really hard to employ those. But when we are pressed for time, this is our best bet at keeping the intensity high, keeping our approaches to failure high, while minimizing the time we spend in the gym. So, using intensity techniques, we can add approaches to failure to our sets, making them much more growth promoting. Also, if we are altering the exercise in a certain way, we can train the muscle in a different position or bias a different part of the muscle, and this will give us more variety in our training as we get a different way of targeting the muscle without having to add another exercise, which is great. So I'm gonna go over the most important intensity techniques, and I'm gonna tell you which ones I think are best used and which the ones that I will be showing you in the upcoming videos on these time-saving workouts, and which ones I don't think are very beneficial. So we're gonna start off with myo reps. You might have heard of this. This is one of my favorite intensity techniques that is really easy to do, really bare bones. You can do this on pretty much any rather stable exercise. So any machine, any cable exercise, you can pretty much do this. I wouldn't do this on any free weight exercise, of course. What you're gonna do is, you're gonna pick a weight that you can perform anywhere between 10 to 30 repetitions with. And then you're gonna pick a target rep range. So let's say you pick a weight that you can do 14 reps with, right? So you say, my target is 20. Now you go and you perform those 14 reps and you fail. You can't get the weight up anymore. Then you rest for 5 to 7 seconds, take a few breaths, and then you go again. Maybe now you get 4 reps because you rested a little bit. You rest again, now you get 2 reps. You reach 20 reps, you're done. Those were 3 approaches to failure in one set. Then we have drop sets. Those are pretty similar. On drop sets, after reaching failure with your weight and you can't do any more reps, you lower the weight and you keep going so that you can extend the set. Now, my problem with drop set is that I think they only make sense if you do them as a myo rep drop set, because typically what people, the narrow definition of a drop set would be you do your reps, you can't anymore, you lower the weight. And if you want to keep going without having any rest, you have to lower the weight very drastically. And this means that, for example, you're doing maybe 14 reps on the first part of the set, and on the second part of the set, you do 8. Now, of those 8 repetitions, probably 4 of them aren't going to be very close to failure. So you're just adding reps, adding intensity, adding volume, but you're not adding a lot of very growth promoting reps, right? So if you were to rest a little bit between the 2 parts of the set and drop the weight less, you could do less reps because it's a higher weight, but you're rested enough so you can actually do them, and they would be closer to failure. But then that's just a myo rep drop set. So I think drop sets only really make sense if you want to do myo reps, but maybe you want to extend the myo reps set so far that you have to actually drop the weight to even keep on doing repetitions. So that's where I would think drop sets come in. Then we have mechanical drop sets. Now that's a whole different story. Mechanical drop sets are where when you reach failure on your exercise, you alter the execution of the exercise, the position you're in, the contributing muscles in some way where you hit the muscle in a position where it is still strong enough to perform reps or even perform partials. And this adds not just another approach to failure, but also trains the muscle in a different way, adding variety. This is by far my favorite intensity technique. And then lastly, we have the superset. This is one of the most common time-saving techniques employed. When you're doing supersets, you are just doing a different exercise in between sets that doesn't involve the muscle you're working. So you're doing biceps curls. Once you're done with your biceps curls, while you're resting your biceps, you do triceps extensions because the antagonist isn't involved. Now this sounds on paper really smart, but as we've said, when you have these high intensity sets, you want your recovery to be as good as possible so that you can go high intensity on the next set. But if you are doing a different muscle, you're not only taxing your stabilizing muscles again, you're also taxing your cardio, your breath, your central nervous system. So no matter what, you're gonna have less rest, be more fatigued for the second sets. So you are actually decreasing the effectiveness of your sets. And that's, if we only have these few sets, we really don't want to do this. So I think supersets don't really have a place in my programming. And concerning unilateral versus bilateral work, we want to focus on bilateral movements, of course, because if we are doing both sides at the same time, we save massively on time. We don't have another rest period between our sets. Always go for bilateral movements if possible. So those are the most important things you have to think about if you want to limit your session duration, fit your exercise, your training in with all your other responsibilities of the day. This way you can guarantee that you are having an effective training, building muscle, reaching your goals, without having to sacrifice all the time in the day doing it right. Now, why this approach is so much better than common workouts is because a lot of the time people, of course, don't know about this rather advanced and rather niche training knowledge. So they just pick some random workout from the internet, and they try to do it, fit it into their day, and because it doesn't fit in, because it's probably has way too much volume, isn't really designed for them, they just cut the volume in half. As I mentioned in the story in the beginning, just do it very poorly, rush the workout, not focus on the sets. But with this approach, you just squeeze everything, every last bit of effectiveness out of the limited time that you have in the most smart, scientifically sound, logical way that you can. So I really think that if you are someone that is pressed for time, only has maybe 45 minutes a day to work out, this is really the approach to take, and this is really going to transform how you achieve your goals in the gym and outside. So if you found this information helpful, please leave a like. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I will be posting example routines of this. I know this is something, these techniques, if you are a beginner and even if you're advanced, seem very abstract, very theoretical. It's hard, how do I apply this, even with the examples I've given. So in the future, I will be posting example workouts, taking you through from start to finish, how I've set them up, why I set them up the way they are, so that you can understand how this all works and you can apply it to your own shit. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss these videos and you can take your training to the next level without sacrificing so much time.